Our Americans had to go into the northern Africa, into the Mediterranean, and try to seize control of that coastline. Because Germany controlling the Mediterranean is massive. For anybody that's ever been to Europe, the Mediterranean Sea has so much commerce going through it, especially when it connects to the Suez Canal. The Mediterranean is very, very valuable. And so when Germany was controlling that, they were able to control a lot of Southern Europe, along with Italy helping them out. So the United States and Great Britain and other allied forces decided to attack the Germans in the northern African coastline and therefore get the Mediterranean back. And they were able to find success with the likes of General Patton and Omar Bradley. They were able to do some fantastic work against a very fierce German regime. The Italians, on the other hand, were not that well. They were not that well versed. They were not as good as the German military. They were not as good as the German army. And they also were starting to not be liked by their people at home. Not necessarily because they hated the soldiers themselves, but they hated who they fought for. So when the United States was able to liberate a lot of northern Africa and then eventually reach Sicily, which is right close to Italy, Americans were able to go through there. In fact, you had quite a few American soldiers get embraced by Italians there, by Sicilians there as well. So they got embraced by Sicilians, and then when they got to Italy, they got embraced by Italians. Well, what's going on? Why is this happening? Well, America was already becoming a melting pot of culture, and you had Italian Americans fighting for the United States. And many Italians that were in the country, in Italy, they started to see some of their relatives, like their great aunts, their grandmothers that were still living in Italy. They saw them there, and they were embracing them. It was almost like a family reunion. That is actually kind of interesting for me when I read about that in history. And also, even if they weren't related to them, they were so sick of Benito Mussolini and how he was running the government that they were ready for a change. They were ready for somebody to come in and liberate them from the fascist dictator. And the Americans were able to take control of the Southern Europe. Benito Mussolini tried to escape. The Italian public found him. They found him and his wife. And, they killed them. And they displayed their bodies on parade.